Hello!
And welcome
to Nightmare Nation!
The paranormal podcast where we talk about haunted places around the world.
And scary things that happen in these haunted places.
Yep, we cover all the deep, dark history of the horrible things that have happened there.
Such terrible things and demons that possess these people.
Yep, especially demons, sometimes aliens.
Mm-hmm. All that fun, really cool stuff that happens.
Yep.
That are unexplained.
Unexplained, paranormal, to the highest degree.
Highest.
I'm Annie.
I'm Anna.
And we're best friends.
Best friends since 8th grade.
And we talk about scary stuff, so this is
just our favorite.
This is our outlet for getting all of our, stuff that we'd normally be blabbing about for 9 hours every time we hang out. And we're just condensing it and putting it in a podcast instead.
And then you guys get to listen to our beautiful voices and all the shit we have to say because we just have a lot to say.
Yeah.
All the time.
As you may have guessed.
Yes.
Okay.
And we go off on tangents a lot.
And sometimes we sing.
And make weird noises.
Yep.
It's just our life and what we do, so.
Welcome to it.
Welcome, all you new podcast listeners.
You pod listeners, you listeners.
I don't know if I like that word.
I don't like it. It makes me think of, pus and blisters for some reason.
It sounds disgusting.
Plisteners.
Plisteners.
No, I don't like it.
Sorry, you guys
are
not pus and blisters, I promise.
No.
You're our dedicated listeners.
And we love you.
We love you so much. Because you guys are the ones who give us the ideas for these places.
Just like tonight's topic.
Oh my gosh, it comes to us from Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Again.
He's a top fan.
He is a top fan.
Congratulations,
Good
Jim.
job, Jim. We're so happy that you're a top fan and that you love our podcast so much.
Yes, he's given us a number of great suggestions, so keep it up. So this morning's topic, or I should say tonight because it's going to come out at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. But
I mean, it's this morning here, tonight. I think we did that last episode too. It's fine.
This episode's topic is the chilling, horrifying, very tragic case of Anneliese Michel.
Michael.
Yep, we'll just pick one and go with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anneliese?
I think so. I think it's either Anneliese or Anneliese.
Anneliese.
It's German, so I'm not actually sure.
All right. Well, we are talking about the exorcism of her.
Yes.
It's really sad.
It's very sad.
But it's such an interesting topic, and everything that happened makes you really think if it was a possession or if it was just mental illness.
I know. It's one of those rare ones where I feel like it could have very clearly been something completely scientific.
Mm-hmm.
Where some of the other ones I'm a little bit more skeptical of, the science arguments. Does that make any sense?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm skeptical of the skeptics. Almost for some of the other ones. Meta-skepticism.
Super skeptic.
Yeah.
So, The Exorcism of Emily Rose is based on...
This story.
Yes,
it is. Great movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good.
I was going to watch it, and then I didn't.
And then you did. Wow, good story.
Well, I watched a different one.
Yeah.
The...
Exorcism tapes?
The Exorcism tapes, which were not real. Although they did show, which I'll show later, or not show you.
Play
later on. They played some of the tape from...
In that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yep.
Where was it, on Netflix or something?
Prime Video. So, Anneliese Elizabeth Michel was born in,
Liebling.
Yeah. If anybody knows how to speak German, please help us. It's Leiblfling.
Liebelfing.
Yeah. Something like that.
Help.
Bavaria, West Germany, in September, on September 21st, 1952. She was brought up along with her 3 sisters and her parents, I'm going to say Joseph.
It's either Joseph or Yosef. I don't know. I don't know.
And Anna.
Anna!
Maybe I am reincarnated and I was actually her mom.
Oh, shit. And that's why you were so hardcore set on, convincing me to watch horror movies and talk about scary things.
And that's why it led us here to talk about this right now, today.
Are you going to possess me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm ready for it.
Good. I hope you are.
And then you can exorcise me, and we can play all of my exorcism audio tapes on this podcast.
Perfect. Great. Later on when we are reincarnated again.
Oh, sweet.
Gosh. Okay. Circle of life.
Circle of life. Is that what the circle of life is? That's what they were talking about in The Lion King.
Yes, it is.
Death, reincarnation, possession, death, and that just goes in a circle.
Yes, exactly.
Disney. You got it right.
You got it. All of those little hidden messages in there. I see what you're doing.
We're picking up what you're dropping.
Conspiracy, I think.
Disney is a conspiracy.
It is. Sorry for all you Disney lovers out there.
Oh my gosh. It's like a next level tangent.
So, she was raised in a Catholic family, and they went to Mass twice a week. So Anneliese's mother had a child out of wedlock in 1948, and that brought shame to her family. Because her mother was so ashamed of her sins, she tried hard to atone for her sins and went to great extremes when Anneliese was born, and she rejected the reforms of the Catholic Church. Her father considered becoming a priest, and 3 of her aunts were nuns. Anneliese felt pressure to atone for her sins of others around her when she started to get a little bit older, including sleeping on the floor as penance for drug addicts who slept on the ground at train stations or elsewhere. This was the start of the nightmare that Anneliese had to endure during her life.
Yeah, so I remember reading that too, and it's so messed up that so I read that her mother tried to have her, like Anneliese, atone for her mother's having a child out of wedlock. I think the daughter's name was Martha.
Oh my.
Yeah, so she was like trying to tell Anneliese to be like extra good and very like pure and religious and chaste and all those other things that they encourage people to do to help atone for her mother's sins.
F that!
And I feel like that could totally, like, maybe if you consider that she might have been kind of genetically predisposed to have some sort of mental illness, like maybe she was already a little bit, like, unbalanced because of, like, genetics or, like, biology, and then to feel like you have to be responsible for other people's sins and to atone for them, I feel like that explains a lot about what happens when she starts, like, experiencing, like, the possession and the way that she behaves, because It
That's
feels
a lot of pressure, especially for such a young girl to have to go through, to have to appease her mother and to appease God to help for her mother's adulteress.
Was it adultery, or did she just have the child out of marriage? Like, did they just have the child before they got married, or did she have the child with someone else?
I think it was before the marriage.
Okay.
So maybe not that. But.
Yeah. But either way, it's really messed up.
Yeah.
To put that on your child.
You didn't use protection or do the proper things to not have a child.
Yeah.
Like, excuse you.
But also, like, F that having a child when you're not married is, like, shameful, and your whole family is shamed, and you have to atone for your sin. It's like, who freaking, as long as you're good parents,
and
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's 1952, so.
In Germany.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those Germans, they're so...
Damn Germans.
Strict.
So strict.
Sorry, Germans, if you're listening. We love you.
We love you.
We love you.
I promise.
You make good brats and pretzels.
I mean, they are in Bavaria, Germany.
Yeah!
The home of the pretzel.
Oh, delicious.
So good.
Now I want to eat a pretzel.
So, there's that. So when Anneliese was 16, she started experiencing blackouts and would walk around the house in a trance-like state, unaware of what she was doing, or she would also wet the bed.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
No, especially when you're 16, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
That's a bad sign.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she then started experiencing seizures and was diagnosed with psychosis caused by temporal lobe epilepsy, which can cause seizures, memory loss, and hallucinations.
Fun fact, that's what Anders has. So I can
that's
somewhat of an expert on this topic because my husband has temporal lobe epilepsy, or more commonly known as like partial complex seizures.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was reading that. I'm like, hey, I know that.
I know all about it.
Thankfully, they have much better medication to manage it today than they did probably in whenever when she was a teenager, 1970-ish.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Roughly around there.
Yeah. So.
So it can also cause a disorder known as Geschwind.
Geschwind. I have no idea.
Yeah, something like that syndrome.
Yeah. Okay.
Which can cause one to act in an excessively religious manner.
There's a syndrome for that?
I guess so.
To be have like religious fits?
I guess so.
I've never heard of that.
I was gonna say Google it.
I'm Googling it right now.
I didn't actually Google it, and when I read that, I was like, is that real?
Okay, Geschwind syndrome, also known as Gestalt-Geschwind, is a group of behavioral phenomena evident in some people with temporal lobe epilepsy. There's controversy surrounding whether it is a true neuropsychiatric disorder. Okay, the syndrome includes 5 primary changes. Hypergraphia. Oh my god, what is that? Ooh, an intense desire to write or draw. Oh my god, that's what people always do in horror movies when they're like possessed by a demon. They like scribble and like write crazy shit in notebooks.
This is all making sense!
Oh my god, I love it. Okay, sorry.
We're doing a full circle!
Oh my god, okay, hypergraphia, hyperreligiosity.
Oh, there it is.
Atypical, usually reduced sexuality.
Oh.
Circumstantiality. What? Like everything's circumstantial? Circumstantial speech. Basically, speech as the result of a non-linear thought pattern where you just kind of say random shit and you don't really
know what you're saying.
I think so. Oh, if someone exhibits circumstantial speech during a conversation, they will often seem to talk the long way around to their point. Oh, so me every fucking day of my life.
I was going to say, I do that all the time.
I literally can't tell a story without adding in 900 extra details that are completely irrelevant and unnecessary.
We have this syndrome.
Oh, God.
Damn it.
Yep. Oh, and intensified mental life. Whatever that means.
What's such mental life intensity.
I wonder if that just means like you're very like mentally active. Your brain is like racing or something, or like you're constantly thinking and daydreaming or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, that makes sense.
So that was a lot of information. That's all Geschwind syndrome, which may or may not be a real disorder associated with temporal lobe epilepsy.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we learn something new every day on this podcast. It's so exciting.
I'm so glad I looked it up.
So then, because of all of these symptoms that she had been exhibiting, the family decided that she should go get treatment in a psychiatric hospital to try and help with the symptoms and disorders that she was dealing with. So in 1970 was when she, while she was staying in the hospital, Anneliese suffered 3 more seizures and was prescribed an anti-convulsion drug, Dilatin, for the first time, which did not help. She then started describing seeing demon faces all throughout the day.
That's terrifying.
Right?
Like during the day? No.
It should only be at night.
It should only be in your bedroom.
You guys are only allowed to come out at night, okay?
Back off. The daytime is my time. It's my time.
Let her just calm down a little bit, please.
It's aggressive.
So then that same month, she was prescribed Olept. AOLEPT.
Words are so hard this episode. Why are there so many?
They're just so fancy. Mm-hmm. Which is used for the treatment of various psychoses, including schizophrenia, disturbed behavior, and delusions. So it's like building up everything. So she's hallucinating. She's on a drug for anti-seizures. And then she's seeing devil faces. And now she has psychosis, including schizophrenia and different disorders.
And she's on another drug.
And she just keeps getting placed on drugs upon drugs upon drugs.
Mm-hmm. Seems like it's not helping.
No, not at all.
Unsuccessful.
So then, in 1973, she was diagnosed with depression.
Oh, God.
And began hallucinating while praying and complained about hearing voices telling her she was damned and would rot in hell.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yep. And I feel like that could also tie into her mom having her try to atone for her sins as well.
Yes.
And having those thoughts of, well, I need to do this, this, and this, otherwise I'm going to be going to hell.
Right. That's what I mean. Like and we don't know how young she was when her mom started kind of ingraining this in her. And she, with that extreme religious upbringing, like, it just seems like it would make complete sense for someone who, like, has a mental disorder to, like, anchor it back to those, like, religious things of atonement. Like, it could have nothing to do with possession whatsoever. It's just a matter of like her, and I guess I can talk a little bit about this later, but like it's just her mental disorder is manifesting as a form of like religious craziness because of the way she was brought up. So.
Yeah. And she doesn't have a good way of being able to deal with the mental illness, so it's all just kind of piling up on her and then manifesting in all sorts of different ways.
It sounds so miserable. That would suck so bad.
It'd be terrible. So then after being in the hospital for years without anything helping her condition, she started getting increasingly frustrated with her treatment. So after about 5 years of being on medication, Anna became increasingly intolerant of Christian sacred places and objects and began hearing voices.
Anna or Anneliese?
Oh, I'm sorry, Anneliese.
Okay, I was like, her mom?
They were, in Wikipedia, they had her name as Anna Elizabeth.
Oh.
And then in parentheses, it was Anneliese.
Oh, it must have been a nickname or something.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, Anneliese was sent to San Damiano. Yeah. With a family friend who organized Christian pilgrimages. Pilgrimages.
Yeah. Why does that word sound so weird? Pilgrimages. I feel like there's like a weird emphasis on the grimmages part. Pilgrimages. It sounds so wrong. It should just be singular. Pilgrimage. Don't make it plural.
Pilgrimage.
Yep.
That still sounds weird.
Yeah.
So her escort concluded that she was dealing with a demonic possession because she was unable to walk past a crucifix, couldn't walk into a shrine. She stated that the soil burned like fire and she simply couldn't stand it. Mm. And she refused to drink the water in a Christian holy spring. So besides not being able to walk by religious items, her behavior started to change as well. She would compulsively do hundreds of squats and genuflections a day. 400 to 600 on most accounts.
Per day?
Yeah.
Dude, that's not a workout.
That's just ouch.
That is ouch. I mean, that's how I feel about most of my workouts when I do them. But.
I mean, but 600 squats?
Yeah.
I can barely do like 5 of them when I'm working out.
Aggressive.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And eventually ruptured ligaments in her knees because of it. She also would crawl under tables, and she barked like a dog for 2 days.
Oh.
She would eat...
2 days?
2 days.
I feel like it's easy to just gloss over that, but think about what it would feel like, and especially as the family, to witness your daughter under a table barking for 48 hours.
Yep.
2 straight days. That's a long time to be barking. Not like 20 minutes. 20 minutes would be weird. 48 freaking hours.
To just constantly just be under there and not moving.
And like, what do you do?
Exactly.
Like, you're her mom. Like, what do you do?
There's nothing you can do because I'm sure she probably would get violent.
That'd be so upsetting. I'm like getting chills just thinking about how awful that would be. Mm-hmm. And like knowing you can't help and there's nothing you can do about it, and she's just freaking barking like a dog.
Yeah.
For 2 days.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Mm-hmm. She would also eat spiders and coal and would bite
coal.
Oh. She would also bite the heads off of dead birds.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Yeah. When I read that, I instantly thought of Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh my god, me too! That's not what you should be known for, you guys. Don't be that guy.
Just don't do it.
I also read that she drank her own urine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, she did.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my next
sorry,
one.
I wasn't sure if
that's
you had
okay.
it down. I stole your thunder.
So she would also scream at all hours of the night, and then she would urinate on the floor and lick it up. That's how the movie starts, is that she comes down from upstairs and she's walking in the living room and all of a sudden she starts peeing and then she turns around and gets all crazy-eyed and then like rolls around in her pee and then takes it, like shoves her hand into it and just starts licking it. I was like, that's disgusting.
Disgusting. And again, like so upsetting for her family to see their like sweet daughter doing this. And like it's so disturbing.
Yeah.
And
just I just it's so creepy.
Yeah.
To know that there are people out there who have gone through this.
Yes.
And, like, having to deal with that and not knowing what to do. And,
at a time where, like, the science was so much less advanced. And, like, I mean, there's still probably a lot we don't know today. But at least we have a better idea of what's going on and, like, how to treat it. Like, Anders, his temporal lobe epilepsy is completely managed through medication. He hasn't had a seizure in years. And, I mean, when he did, it was nothing near, like what's happening in the story. It's just obviously a very extreme example. But, like, we know how to treat it. And it took a while to get a diagnosis, but it's completely manageable.
Exactly.
And I just can't imagine being completely helpless and, like, not knowing what to do.
Yep. And no medication is working or anything. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, okay, well... last resorts, I guess.
I will say, though, so one of the things that Anders experienced a lot with his, so during, like, the year that he was kind of having seizures before we knew what it was, he would have really bad, like, gaps in his memory. Like, he doesn't remember almost anything that happened that entire year. Shit. So I can only say, like, hopefully the only redeeming thing about this whole story is that hopefully she didn't really, like, remember what was happening or, like, know what was going on. So she's not, like, consciously aware, maybe, of what she's doing.
Yeah.
I can only hope. That's my, like, hope and wish. That she doesn't remember. Yeah.
Or, like, during her crazy periods, it's just she's essentially blacked out.
Yeah.
And doesn't know what's going on and then comes to and is normal in quotes.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you're having a seizure, you're not aware that it's happening with this kind of epilepsy. Like, it's just happens. It just happens, and, like, you're not in control of it, and you're not even aware it's happening.
Crazy.
Yeah. At least for Anders. It always happened when he was asleep and never happened while he was awake.
So the family believed that she was possessed, and that's when they decided to contact several Plisteners. Yes! So that's when they decided to contact several priests to help perform an exorcism. There were multiple priests who declined to help and recommended the continuation of medical treatment and stated that exorcisms needed to be approved from the bishop. So I wanted, because I was just curious myself as well to know, like, what exactly is the criteria in order to perform an exorcism.
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah, so in order to get approval to do an exorcism, the person has to meet strict criteria before the rite is performed. They need to have the permission of the local bishop, and then a careful medical examination is needed to exclude the possibility of mental illness So some of these indicators of a possible possession include speaking foreign or ancient languages of which the possessed has no prior knowledge, supernatural abilities and strength, knowledge of hidden or removed things which the possessed has no way of knowing, and aversion to anything holy, and a profuse blasphemy, which is insulting or showing contempt or lack of reverence to a deity or sacred objects, or towards something considered sacred or inviolable.
Yeah.
Inviolable?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird. And or sacrilege, which is a violation or injurious treatment of a sacred object, site, or person.
Wow. So you have to have, like, all of those things?
Not all of them, but you have to have, like, show some of them.
Okay. Because I'm like, I could sit here and be an asshole and, like, say blasphemous things about deities and swear and, you know, smash a crucifix in half, but that doesn't mean I'm possessed. Like,
yeah, no.
I could just be a jerk.
Yeah, no. I think they're more looking for, well, obviously all of them, but I feel like with a lot of these indicators are what you see in typical possessions.
Yeah.
Is that they're speaking in a different language that they shouldn't know. They're just acting crazy. Like,
yeah.
Fascinating. I thought that was pretty cool. So then, in November of 1973, she started treatment with Tregretol, which is an anti-seizure and mood stabilizer drug. So she's just literally on every single drug that they could think of to try and help whatever is going on.
Do you know if she was taking, like, all of them at the same time, or did they, like, change her medication? I would assume they, like, switched to a new drug.
I think they switched to a new drug because the past, like, 2 have been for anti-seizures. And, I mean, that's a lot of anti-seizure medication to be taking. So I'm assuming that's different.
Okay.
But with, like, the mood stabilizer, depression, I feel like she's probably taking those because they're probably different types of drugs that handle
that's true.
the chemistry differently. So She was also prescribed an antipsychotic drug during the exorcism and frequently up to her death. So she literally was just taking all sorts of freaking pills.
Mm-hmm.
And then even while taking these medications, they didn't help her symptoms, and they manifested into... So her symptoms manifested into her growling, seeing demons, and also throwing things.
Mm-hmm.
So now, after all of these failed attempts with psychiatric care, her family wanted her to see further psychiatric treatment, but Anneliese refused and begged for religious intercession. So she was just essentially done with trying all these different pills. Nothing was helping her.
I think I would be too. It's been like years at this point.
Yeah.
And it's clearly nothing is it's only getting worse, which is part of why I kind of think that this could be something non-medical, because again, the drugs work differently for everybody, but after taking 4 different things, like none of them helped even a little.
Exactly.
Like not one bit.
And she kept getting worse.
Yeah.
So then in 1975, after 2 denials to perform exorcisms, local bishop Joseph.
Oh. Hang on, no, Joseph. That's what popped into my head.
We're just going to go with Joseph, even though that might not be right. Stengel approved her exorcism after receiving support from a priest, Ernest Alt, who believed her condition was more than epilepsy and hallucinations. The bishop assigned Pastor Arnold Renz to work together with Father Alt to perform the rite in total secrecy.
Yeah, I read about that too. That seems super sketchy.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
Is it because she to me, it seems like she met all of the criteria except for the fact that there was an underlying medical condition.
Correct.
So he was finally like, okay, you got to do it, but don't tell anyone, because she technically could have schizophrenia, epilepsy, whatever.
Right.
Is that why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like too, though, the church likes to keep exorcisms under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, it's not a super awesome thing to have performed on you, and it's essentially proving that the devil is real in most cases.
That is a fascinating point, because if it's successful, then it's like, hey, demons are a thing.
Yep.
And that would scare everybody. Oh my god, I never thought about that. Oh.
Deep thoughts with Anna.
Fascinating.
So, yeah, I thought that was a little sketchy.
Conspiracy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the rite was performed for the first time by Father Renz on September 24th, 1975. Over many sessions, Anneliese revealed the names of many notable demons who possessed her. She was host to some of history's greatest villains, including Cain, Judas, Nero, Lucifer, the devil himself, and Hitler.
Hitler? Oh, no!
I read that one, I was like, what?
Did Hitler become a demon?
I don't know. He probably went to hell for everything that he did.
Yeah, but I thought demons were non-human.
Well, he could have been transferred into demon form when he went to hell.
Okay.
Maybe?
Okay.
Or is a demon
like,
pretending to be Hitler?
That would make more sense to me as a demon, saying that he's Hitler, or, pretending to be Hitler just to, fuck with people, essentially. Or they're like, Hitler shows up in hell and they're like, you're a special kind of evil. You get to go through our demon transfer program. You've been specially selected.
Here we go. But conspiracy theorists could say that it wasn't actually Hitler because Hitler didn't die in his bunker.
Really?
Have you not heard this?
No.
That he lived out the rest of his life down in Argentina.
What?
Yeah.
I love Argentina. But what?
Yeah. There's Hunting Hitler. You should watch it.
Oh my god.
Extremely fascinating, and it literally proves and shows that it is a possibility that Hitler could have gotten out from his bunker. There were so many secret places, hiding places, and escape routes.
I've literally never heard any of this.
Yeah, you should probably watch Hunting Hitler.
Okay. I will do that.
That's one conspiracy theory.
Okay, cool.
So,
okay.
There it is.
That seems reasonable, though. You're not there's an alien laboratory in the ground and
aliens are walking around on Earth.
Yeah, they probably are.
Yeah. That's true. It's fine.
That one seems less crazy, though, than some of the ones. Or the one that I mentioned last episode with the guy who was like, the hole in the Antarctic is actually the opening to a lair of a master race that's been controlling the minds of humans for the dawn of time. I'm like, no.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Good try, guy. So all of these villains and demons would speak through Anneliese, and each had a different voice. So Hitler would speak with an appropriately Austrian accent and would declare stupid people as pigs.
Yeah.
Each of them would essentially bounce off each other, and Judas would say that Hitler was not actually a big deal in hell.
Oh, he's like not high up on the social hierarchy.
Nope.
He doesn't get invited to like dinner parties. No.
He thinks he's a real shit, but he's actually not.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Like, I mean, it's awful that this is happening to her, but I think it's hilarious that the demons are like bitching each other out. Like,
no, I'm the best.
I'm the coolest demon. Ridiculous.
So one story, which I believe, is that one of the demons spoke about, his name is Priest Valentin Fleischmann,
mm-hmm.
and provided accurate details about naughty behavior he partook in that Anneliese should not have any knowledge about. And he was eventually kicked out of the church for it. So, like, inappropriate behavior that shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not follow that, and then it all clicked. Okay.
Which then goes back to the indicators of a possession is the knowledge of hidden or removed things.
Yeah.
And she knew.
She knew.
So then over the course of 9 months, Anneliese was subjected to a total of 67 exorcisms, with each session lasting around 4 hours and were held once or twice a week. And there are around 42 hours of audio of the exorcism that exists. So her voice on the recordings are inhuman and demon-like, and she's often growling, gurgles, hisses, and spits obscenities in between sessions of Judas and Hitler.
Oh, great.
So I've got a little audio clip here.
I'm so excited for this.
From her exorcism. We're just kind of like right in the middle, so here we go.
Ja, der Zeitlophone ist. Ja, und das andere daneben. Ja, und der Zeitlophone. Und das sag ich Ihnen nicht. Nein! Nein!
Vater der Liebe, sage die Wahrheit. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes.
Oh my god!
So this video is like an hour and 32 minutes, but I was listening to this yesterday, and I was so uncomfortable listening to it.
My whole body has chills right now.
She's obviously speaking in German.
Yeah.
But...
Nein!
Oh my god. It's just so uncomfortable.
You should have seen my face the whole time. I just got like increasingly more uncomfortable looking like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I mean that's not normal voice. I don't even think I could attempt a voice like that.
The growl was so deep. It was super deep.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. And she's so teeny tiny and like
so
young.
little.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was upsetting.
So during the sessions, as Anneliese's physical health was slowly dwindling, others witnessed her having superhuman strength, and her behavior would become so violent that she would have to be held down, chained to a chair, or restrained so the priests could keep performing their rite. This was also when she broke bones and ripped tendons in her knees from kneeling so much.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
terrible. So then after months of exorcisms, it took a toll on Anneliese, and she eventually died, but not because of the actual exorcisms. So during her exorcisms, Anneliese began talking about the possibility of sacrificing her own life on behalf of the rebellious youth and sinful priests she considered to be plaguing the modern era. So at this point, she decided that she didn't want to be treated for her epilepsy anymore and relied solely on the exorcisms. She had also stopped eating and planned to starve herself to death to atone for the sins of others. So then in the spring of 1976, Anneliese was emaciated and contracted...
Emaciated.
Emaciated, thank you. I knew that was
like
right.
emancipated?
Thank you.
Yep, yeah, I gotcha.
Yep. I was reading it, but it wasn't the right word.
That's okay.
So Anneliese was emaciated, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And contracted pneumonia. So because of the exorcism sessions and how, like, intense they were, from suffering from a fever and weakened from not eating, Anneliese died of starvation on July 1st, 1976, weighing 68 pounds and was only 23.
I know. 68
Like 68.
pounds? That's how much your dog weighs.
No, he weighs way more. He's like 98.
Oh, jeez.
96.
Okay.
I mean, that's
massive,
like the size of Maddie.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, she's 23.
23 and that small,
I
like just
know.
all bones.
And I read that both of her knees were broken when she died. They just, from all the genuflections and everything.
Yeah.
She was basically just like this little, like, living corpse up until the moment she died. It's
That's
so
so
sad.
sad.
I know. And there's, like, some pictures, and, like, the picture in the background of that YouTube video, like, she just looks so frail and small and fragile and just, like, beat up. And it's so sad. Oh, my gosh.
Really
It's
is.
really heartbreaking.
Ugh.
Yeah, so, yeah, dehydration and malnourishment were the primary cause. And it's interesting because I didn't actually know that she intended to starve herself to death. I thought that was all just, like, she was
Because
so
of the
messed up.
exorcisms?
I thought she
Yeah.
just, like, I mean, I knew she didn't die from an exorcism exactly. I thought maybe she just, like, refused to eat because of her mental state. I didn't know that she was intentionally trying to sacrifice herself. And that actually puts the whole court case in a slightly different light. If, like, if someone chooses to not eat and, like, you try to make them eat and they won't, like, are you at fault if they starve to death? Like,
no.
I guess in the court they said yes, but
Oh.
spoiler alert.
Here it is.
So, okay, yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the court case. And I was trying to find more details on it because, and it's interesting, the exorcism of Emily Rose, which is very loosely based on this story. So most of the details are different, but the general, like, plot follows kind of the story of Anneliese, where there's a girl and she dies and the priests go on trial, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the movie did a really great job, and there was, like, so much detail, and they went through, like, it was a half courtroom drama, half horror movie.
Oh,
and I thought it was,
that's
like,
interesting.
Because they're going through the case, like, and I thought the movie did a really good job of kind of, like, switching between the details of the case and, like, and then having the lawyer, like, talk with the priest that's on trial, and then, like, scary things start happening to the lawyer because she's getting involved with the case or whatever. And it was, like, very perfectly balanced between those two things, because I feel like the court side could have been really dry and boring, but I didn't think it was. So anyway.
Sweet. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. So she dies. It's very, very tragic. And after her death, an investigation was launched, and it concluded that, an investigation was launched, and the state prosecutor determined that Anneliese's death could have been prevented as close as 1 week before she died. So basically, if anyone had intervened, fed her, treated her pneumonia, done anything, even up until, like, a week before she died, she could have lived and would have been fine. That's just what they said. That's just what I mean, she at least wouldn't have died. She could have been hospitalized.
Right.
But her quality of life would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of my point of view, too, is, like, is that really just... You're basically saying she needs to be alive so that when you, like, look on a piece of paper, it says she's still living. But, like, is that really living if you are
if you're
mentally tormented and you believe you're being hunted by demons? You've tried 5 different kinds of medication. You've tried so many different treatments. You've been exorcised like 67 times. None of it has worked. Like, is keeping you strapped down and sedated to a hospital bed, like, better than just being dead?
Exactly.
Like, you're only living on paper.
Yep.
Like,
it's not worth the suffering to...
Yeah, it's not a good life. So basically they said her death could have been prevented. So then they officially charged both of her parents and the priests, Ernst Alt and Arnold Renz, with negligent homicide. So what this is, it essentially means that another person allows someone to die through any kind of negligence of some kind. So this could be, like, not helping a person, ignoring safety guidelines at work that result in a death. Like, I found a really interesting example of a Peruvian airline crash where an employee who was, like, doing the routine cleaning in between planes, like, left some piece of tape over some duct or whatever, and it caused the engine to malfunction and the plane crashed and everyone died, and that person was charged with negligent homicide.
Holy shit.
Because he didn't follow the guidelines. It was his fault that the plane crashed. So even though he didn't, like, intend to kill them, they all died.
The only thing that I find weird is that she's not the only one who has died from an exorcism. Like, obviously it wasn't from specifically the exorcism, but why isn't everybody who's died from an exorcism, why wouldn't the priest be charged because they died under their care and they could have technically gone to a hospital to get care and not have died?
Maybe they did. Like, do you have an example?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm just thinking.
Just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, if this one, there's a couple of reasons why this case kind of blew up, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but I wonder if, like, this one was so, like, publicized that they jumped in and kind of, like, made a big deal out of it. I would think that it's maybe up to the individual, like, country or state or wherever, if it happened, and whether or not that counts. That's a good question. I don't know. We'll have to see if we can find another example where that happened, because I'm not sure. So the trial started on March 30th, 1978 in the district court, with Anneliese's parents being represented by German lawyer Erich Schmidt-Leichner.
Look at your German.
Yeah,
good.
I took a semester of German in college.
I didn't.
While the priests were defended by lawyers that were sponsored by the church. So the church basically gave them the legal defense to defend themselves, but then they, like, later backpedaled. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so doctors who had been treating Anneliese were brought into the court and testified that she was not possessed and that the religious theme of her behaviors was a psychological effect brought on by a combination of her epilepsy and then the strict religious upbringing. So it goes back to the way she was raised and her mother, kind of impressing that idea of atonement on her.
But did they say anything about the medications not working?
I mean, they didn't.
Like,
yeah, none of them
you can
were
say
working.
that, like,
yeah, but I mean, like, at this point, we're looking at probably how many doctors have treated her. Like, you're looking at probably 6 or 7 different medical professionals, if not more, who are all saying that she's been diagnosed with this condition. And then you're looking at a priest who's like, she's possessed.
Well, right, but I feel like you also need to explain the treatment that she was going through in order to, like, you can say that there are 6 doctors here who have tried treating her, but like, if you're not stating what the treatment was and if it failed, then how?
I don't know. This is what I really wanted to find, like, a legit transcript of the whole hearing in the court case, because I would have read the whole thing, like, word for word, because I'm fascinated by it. There was there was one doctor, though. So his name was Richard Roth, and he had been asked for medical help by Alt, so one of the priests. So it's interesting. Even the priest is like, hey, let's do one last check to make sure it's not a medical thing.
And that's what happened, is that there were 2 priests who denied it and said, and I'm pretty sure even the bishop at that time told them to go get more medical treatment.
Right.
And Anneliese decided that no, she doesn't want to do this anymore because nothing is working.
Yeah, but also when you're talking to someone with the severe level of, like, psychosis that she had, like, at some point you don't get to be in control of your own decisions.
True. That's very
like,
true. Yes.
She could say she doesn't want it, but that doesn't mean she doesn't need it.
She's not under the right mental capacity.
That's why they have power of attorney, so that people who are in a better mental state of mind can make decisions for you, which, right or wrong, that's just what it is. Yeah. So Richard Roth, a doctor who had been asked for help, said he apparently told Anneliese during one of her exorcisms that there is no injection against the devil, Anneliese. So he basically straight up said, like, I'm a doctor, but I'm pretty sure you're possessed by the devil, and there's no cure for that, so.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, coming from a doctor, that says a lot.
Yes, it does.
Oh, shit.
There's no injection against the devil. So the prosecution also argued that the court needed to set a precedent and send a strong message to the world to prevent any other exorcism-related deaths. So this is kind of the first time that, as far as I'm aware, that anything like this had been sort of, like, publicized, and they basically said, like, we need to be very, like, firm in this case because we don't want other people to start going around and doing exorcisms and having people die in other people's care. And we basically need to say, like, no, we're not going to tolerate that. So that makes sense. There was a slightly, like, political agenda to the court case.
Right.
Which does make sense. And so her death had been so, like, wildly publicized, and, like, she was famous all around the country, and, like, the trial was being covered in worldwide news. I found a New York Times article from, like, 78?
What?
Covering the fact that this girl in Germany died, and the priests were going on trial for her death.
Oh, shit.
So, like, it was a big
intense.
Freaking deal.
Dang.
Yeah, so they just were like, okay, too many people are watching this, we need to set a precedent here.
Right.
So Anneliese's parents' lawyer argued that the exorcism was perfectly legal and that the German Constitution protects citizens' freedoms of unrestricted exercise of their religious beliefs. So even if that results in death, you are free to practice your religious beliefs, and since an exorcism is a religious rite, they were fully allowed to do it and it was legal, which is a fair argument.
Yeah.
So they also took some of the audio recordings from the exorcisms that had happened over the previous 10 months and played them in court as evidence that she was actually possessed. So, yeah, like you said, some of the tapes were like demons arguing with each other, and that's what the defense played at court. And Alt and Renz both said that the demons... Oh, yeah, there was another one that you didn't mention. So the demons had also identified themselves not only Lucifer and Cain and Judas, but also Belial, Legion, and Nero.
Oh, I said Nero.
Oh, you said Nero. Yeah. Got it. But like
she's
Legion,
just got all of
she has all the famous demons. Like every single freaking demon.
Like I know Cain and Judas. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know who Belial is, and I think Legion is sometimes like the name given to like a demon that's actually like a host of multiple demons or something.
Oh.
I forget. We should look that up.
Legion is a demon or group of demons, particularly those in 2 or 3 versions of exorcisms of the Gerasene demonic. An account in the New Testament of an incident in which Jesus performs an exorcism.
Jesus performs an exorcism?
I guess so.
Oh, I think, because isn't there like, it's a prostitute that's possessed by Legion and Jesus casts him out of her body? I feel like I remember that story from the Bible.
Maybe.
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how well.
That's so crazy, Jesus, to go around exorcising demons out of people.
He just did everything.
Yeah.
God, he's just the man.
Yeah, so I thought I remembered Legion as like being either an individual or like a host of demons, like a group, which is unfortunate.
Group of demons.
Because she's already got enough demons anyway. Like, you don't need a demon that is multiple demons. So I thought this was super interesting. So the final argument that the defense made was that she was finally freed of the demons in the final exorcism just before her death. So they argued that the exorcism worked and that she was freed from the demons. She just died because of the physical causes. Which is like...
Because, I mean, I'm sure the demons were telling her to not eat.
I'm sure.
And that's why she was doing starvation.
Yeah.
Not doing starvation.
I didn't say that. She's doing the starvation diet.
Good. Oh, sometimes.
But yeah, so like if that's true and she was truly freed of the demons, like first of all, like what makes you think that the 67th exorcism is going to work and the other 66 number. Didn't work? But like if that's true, that's crazy. So then she could have lived.
Right.
It was just like a little too far gone, like physically. So, I don't know.
Did they say how they knew that the last one worked?
I didn't get any details.
Okay.
Yeah, just that they said she was finally freed of the demons. Which if that was the case, I wonder when the last exorcism was right before she died, because if the state prosecutor found that she could have been saved even a week before her death, and she was finally freed of the demons in her last oh my God, I can't say that freaking word. Exorcism right before she died, then if she was free from the demons, she should have been able to like eat and get medical attention. Right? So that almost feels like an argument for the prosecutor, not the defense. I don't know.
So many things.
I don't know.
Interesting.
So Bishop. Oh my God. Why? Okay. So Bishop Joseph Stengel, like you said, the one who actually authorized the exorcism and ordered it done to be in total secrecy, said he wasn't aware of her health condition, which is total freaking
bullshit.
BS.
You lying sack of turds.
Well, so he said he didn't know about her health condition when he made the approval, and he chose not to testify in court.
Okay.
He, like, recused himself from...
That's a little shady.
Yeah, well, especially if you said that he told the other priest to go get more medical help.
Yes.
Then you freaking knew.
Yes.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what was going on.
So he, like, originally was like, yeah, okay, go for it, and then totally backpedaled and, like, threw his priests under the bus.
And plus, when you go to the bishop, you have to tell them exactly what's going on, what their condition is, what symptoms they're experiencing, in order to have it approved. So obviously he saw something in her that she was possessed.
Also, the church sponsored the lawyers that defended the priest. So, like, you're like, standing by them, and then when the trial actually happens, you're like, oh, no, actually...
This didn't happen. I didn't do anything.
No, I didn't do anything. It's bullshit. Yeah. So at the end of the trial, all of the accused were found guilty of manslaughter resulting from negligence, and they were all sentenced to 6 months in jail, but it was later suspended. And they had 3 years of probation. So what's interesting is the sentence was actually more than the prosecution was asking for. So when they originally brought the case to court, their recommendation was to have the priest just be fined and then have the parents be found guilty but not punished, because they said that everything they went through with their daughter was punishment enough.
Right.
So they just wanted it, like, on paper that you were guilty of negligent homicide but no punishment. So they actually, like, gave them a heavier sentence than what was asked for, which is interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, but apparently it was also a lighter sentence than some of the people were anticipating, since they did find them guilty. I don't know. The sentencing was kind of weird. So I have to imagine that the trial must have been really emotional for the judge and jury to have given them sentences beyond what was even asked for.
I'm sure.
Either that or they were trying to, like, make a statement.
Yeah.
So after the trial, Anneliese's parents asked for permission to exhume the remains of their daughter, so basically dig up her grave. So the official reason presented to the authorities was that she had been buried in undue hurry in a cheap coffin. But what actually happened, and this is so bizarre, I have no idea how this came to happen, but in reality, her parents had received a message from a nun in southern Bavaria who said she had a vision that Anneliese's body was still intact and not, like, decomposing.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, I just got chills. That's uncomfortable.
She just, like, had a vision and was like, your daughter. I don't know if she wanted to, like, prove that, like, she was a saint because her body was still perfectly preserved or what. I have no idea what this nun was going for. So they, almost 2 years after the original burial, on February 25th of 1978, her remains were dug up and replaced in a new oak coffin lined with tin.
Oh.
Did I write that correctly? I don't know. The official reports states that the body did bear signs of consistent deterioration. So basically they dug it. Yeah, so they dug it up and were like, yep, she's decomposing.
Delicious.
But no photos of the exhumed body were ever released.
Of course
it's
they
a cover-up.
weren't.
It's a cover-up.
Huh.
So I don't know who this random nun is who she's like, yeah, I had a vision of your daughter. Okay. So the priests who exorcised Anneliese were discouraged from seeing her remains, and Arnold Renz later stated that he had actually been prevented from entering the mortuary. So they didn't want the priests to be able to see the body.
Oh, damn.
At all. But today her grave is considered by many to be a place of pilgrimage.
No.
Yeah. Because of her death, the number of officially sanctioned exorcisms performed in Germany decreased by quite a bit. I don't know exactly the number, but they said that basically because it was so publicized and there was so much, like, controversy and there was a court case and the trial and it was, like, looking bad for the church, I'm guessing they just didn't want to authorize as many, like, at least officially authorize as many exorcisms.
Huh.
So this is super random, but on June 6th of 2013, a fire broke out in the house where Anneliese lived, which is completely, like, irrelevant. The police ruled it as an arson, but of course all the locals are like, it's because she's back! Oh, she's back! Yeah.
Oh, weird.
So, just a quick comparison to how, like, the Emily Rose movie plays out, because, again, like, the details of the story are completely different. All the names, like, the locations, the characters involved, but the overall story is the same. So, in the movie, the priest figure who goes to trial for the death of Emily Rose was named Tom Wilkinson, and he was basically just a combination of Father Arnold Renz and Ernst Alt, so just easier to have one character instead of two showing up in court. In the movie, the priest is represented in court by a defense attorney who's agnostic and, like, doesn't believe in any of the religious stuff because
more drama.
It's more dramatic than when things start happening and she starts to believe. And it's so interesting the way they're, like, trying to, like, pitch this religious stuff in court, and, like, even the agnostic attorney starts to, like, sympathize with the priest or whatever. And I think the movie's well done. They called it, like, the scariest movie ever made, and it's so scary. It's not that scary.
It's like, it's the most haunted place in the world.
Most haunted place in the world. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was scary. I think it's a good movie, but it's not particularly scary. But then again, I'm so desensitized to everything. I've seen so many that nothing scares me anymore.
Exactly.
And it has Jennifer Carpenter, who's a good actress. So what's also different in the movie is that only the priest is found guilty. So I don't remember if the parents even go to trial in the movie.
Oh.
But the parents are not found guilty. Only the priest is.
Okay.
So in the movie, Emily sees the faces of demons on people around her, which is consistent with what Anneliese reported. What's sad, though, is that Anneliese's mother didn't support the making of the film, and she actually said, quote, "I don't want to see the film, and I don't know anything about it." So at the time the movie was made, she was in her 80s, and Anneliese's father had died 6 years prior to the movie being released. So they basically kind of did it without her permission.
That's so sad.
Again, like, none of the details were the same, but...
Right, but I mean, it's based on...
It's her
daughter.
Story.
Right.
It's her baby.
Like, she had to endure a lot of shit.
She did.
During those years.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. So that's too bad. Here's a really interesting theory on the whole thing. So some people have argued that Anneliese was actually just mimicking what she might have possibly seen in the movie The Exorcist.
I feel like I read that somewhere.
Yeah. So that movie came out in 1973.
Yep.
And she could have potentially seen it.
Yep.
Don't know if she did. We don't have proof. But apparently the voice on the audio tapes is strikingly similar to Linda Blair's inhuman voices that she makes in the movie when she's possessed. Mm-hmm. And people say that, like, after the movie was released in Europe, like, psychiatrists all over the continent reported a large increase in, like, obsessive ideas of demons and demonic possession among their patients. Just, like, across all of Europe, everyone was like, oh, I'm possessed. And it just was, like, this weird phenomenon where everyone got, like, wrapped up in it. And so some of them were saying that, like, she probably, like, very possibly did have, like, schizophrenia, epilepsy, like, mental illness, and it was just manifesting in a way that was consistent with what she had seen. And, like, they were also arguing that if you start to do, like, exorcisms with people, it's kind of like leading the witness, where you kind of, like, there's a certain expectation of what happens during an exorcism, and people can start to, like, subconsciously, like, manifest those behaviors because you're like, oh, you're possessed, we need to do an exorcism. And she possibly then started to believe that she really was possessed and was, like, having these, quote, involuntary things happening. And it could have just been, like, a combination of all the hype with The Exorcist and, like, exorcisms in general, and then her, like, religious background, and then her mental illness all kind of coming together for the perfect shitstorm trifecta.
That's totally possible.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting theory.
Believe.
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
That's interesting.
That's what I got.
Oh, that's such a good story.
Well, it was a long one. There's so much good detail, though.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, I got my sources from Wikipedia and Grudge.com.
Hold on. I get it. My sources were Wikipedia, drvitelli.typepad.com, and chasingthefrog.com.
Chasing the Frog.
That was the one comparing, like, the movie versus reality. So
I love it.
Yep.
I find these cases just so fascinating.
They are.
There's just so much background with mental illness, and I feel like that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah.
Because in those types of mental states, you can manifest literally almost anything.
Yeah.
Like, take anxiety, for example. Mm-hmm. It can manifest into panic attacks, racing heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like,
physical reactions that, like, actually change your body chemistry.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Have you seen the movie Split?
No.
It's good.
Feel like I've heard of it.
It's the one... So there's, like, there's, like, this theory that with, like, split personality disorder, when you adopt your different personalities, like, your body chemistry will actually change to match the personality that you're speaking with.
Oh, really?
And the movie totally blows that out of proportion. But the whole idea is that there's this guy who has, I think he's got, like, 26 different personalities, Jesus. But one of them is, like, the Beast. And so this whole time, like, he kidnaps these girls, and they're trying to, like, work with his different personalities to, like, manipulate him into letting them go. And there's this, like, the Beast that, like, they don't want him to turn into the Beast because they're scared that he's going to turn into, like, a monster, and then he eventually does, and it's so over the top. But it's good. And it has what's his face? God, the guy who plays the young Professor Xavier in the new X-Men movies. I don't remember his name.
Don't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I mean, I do believe that there are people who are possessed by demons, but I just feel like a lot of the most known exorcisms they start off with some sort of mental illness, and then it transitions into this demon-like behavior.
Yeah.
And then...
But as we know from our other research that we've done, demons like to target people who are compromised.
This is
and
true.
So it's possible that those people with severe mental illness or other issues are being targeted by the demons.
Because they're probably easier to possess.
Yeah. Just playing devil's advocate.
Oh my god, so good. All
So,
right.
I have a story.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot.
It's a quick one, but this came from my brother's girlfriend.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear this.
Okay, so, and this isn't necessarily like anything paranormal, but she said it was just like super weird and she can't explain it, and she very vividly like remembers it all happening. So she, as a child, would go biking with her friend Sarah down a hill that it was just like a place that they biked down frequently. So she would go on bike rides with her friend, and she said she had one very, very vivid dream, like super weirdly crystal clear dream about biking down a hill, the specific hill with her friend Sarah. She said she could remember that they were like singing some song or like having some specific conversation, and she like had this dream, and at the very bottom of the hill, a station wagon came out from the opposite street and like hit her friend, I think is what she said in her dream. So I don't know how much time had passed, but she said like fast forward, and she's having this weird like deja vu moment where she's biking down the hill with Sarah, and she remembers like singing the song, having the conversation, and she's like, oh my god, I've seen this before. I literally had a dream about this. And she said to her friend like, Sarah, we should probably slow down. Like, we want to make sure that there's no cars coming. And a freaking station wagon drives across exactly the way it happened in her dream. And she's like, I freaking changed the future.
Holy shit!
She's like, I had a vision and I stopped my friend from getting hit by a car. It's crazy.
Oh, that's so cool. I got goosebumps.
I know, it was pretty cool.
Holy shit.
Yep.
And her friend is still alive then, I'm assuming?
Still, I think so, as far as I'm aware. If she's not, it's not from being hit by a car. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Shit.
Yep.
That's
pretty
cool.
crazy. I'm like, Clara, you're psychic.
Pretty much.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Guys, if you have a story,
tell us.
Tell us about it. Send it in.
NightmareNation19@gmail.com.
Or check out our Facebook page. And even if you don't have a story, you should still go to the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Nightmare_Nation 19.
Yep. Check us out on the Instagram, nightmare.nation19.
Yep. So many combinations.
All of the combinations.
Let us know what you think. Leave us a review. Send in your stories if you have anything unexplained that's ever happened to you that is either paranormal or just weird. Maybe you had a vision and stopped your friend from dying.
Yes. Maybe you're psychic
and
you want to tell us some psychic things.
Maybe you were an idiot and used a Ouija board.
And now you're possessed by the devil.
But we want to hear about it.
Yeah.
So
let us know.
Let us know.
Tell us.
And continue to serve up great suggestions for stories to cover and places to visit.
Because we need all of them.
We need them.
We love them.
Yep.
So.
Until next time.
Until next time, friends. Don't use a Ouija board.
Stay safe.
Don't get possessed.
Don't get possessed.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.